Hello everyone, I'm here to do another weekly reads, and I have actually read quite a bit this week, but before I go into that, I just wanted to acknowledge what's happening in Palestine. I think probably many of you will already know that there has been some attacks from Israel and also attacks from Palestine to Israel, but mainly from Israeli bombs in Gaza that have killed almost 200 people, many of them children, and it's just horrible to see what is happening there, and I don't think it's okay. So I just wanted to, to bring attention to that, and I will link down below ways you can help, and also maybe you can find if there is any demonstrations in your area that you might want to go to. Because it's terrifying what's happening, and I think it needs to stop. Basically, doesn't look like it's gonna stop, but hopefully we can make that change a little bit. I just wanted to say that before I go into the books this week. So I have been reading quite a bit. I will start with the different projects. So for the Springathon, I read 2 and a bit books. The first one I read was Fathoms by Rebecca Griggs. And this one is, I read in audiobook, and it's about whales basically, and how they work biologically and socially into their circles, but it focuses mainly on the relationship between humans and whales and why we do to whales what we do. And a bit about conservation of whales and the different way that cultures appreciate whales. It was a beautiful book. I really enjoyed it, and I think it's something worth reading. And the other one that I read in audio was Gathering Moss by Robin Wall Kimmerer, which is also the author of Braiding Sweetgrass. And this one focuses mostly, as the name suggests, in mosses and how they work, how they grow, the different scientific facts behind mosses, and how the author herself learned how to differentiate mosses and how they work, because at the beginning you just see and it's like, oh, it's moss, but it turns out that there are different hundreds of mosses in one place, and the way that they reproduce and the way that they help the soil and help other forms of life, it's quite interesting. And I always enjoyed her way of talking. It's very conversational, but at the same time very wise, and I just think this is very cool. The only thing I would say is that it's not as personal as her first book. Gathering Moss is a little bit more into mosses than Braiding Sweetgrass was a bit more personal, and that's why I like Braiding Sweetgrass more. But other than that, I think it's a great book and you should definitely read it. And the last book that I am currently reading for Springathon, it's also my reread for this month, and it's Upriver by Michael Brown. This is actually about, it's an anthropological study of a tribe in the Amazon, in northern Peru, and they are supposed to be quite violent. The author is trying to kind of explain a little bit more about the tribe, and I like that the introduction talks about his biases as an American and what they might mean for the investigation, and recognizes that there is nothing such as an objective anthropological study. So far I'm liking this. We'll see how I go. It was supposed to be for Springathon, even though if it's an anthropological study instead of like nature writing about the Amazon, but still there's quite a lot of bit of Amazon, so I thought I would put it in there. Then I also read A Song for a New Day by Sarah Pinsker, and this is sort of an apocalyptic novel about the world in the near future, and there seems to have been a pandemic. We don't know a lot about the pandemic or anything, but basically there has been something like that has changed the world completely. So now most people work from home, and people are scared to gather in big groups, and actually big groups and big concerts and things like that are banned. And this is about the protagonist. It's a girl that has never left her house, but somehow she gets involved into a new company and a new job, and gets to know new bands, and gets into the like underground music scene of the time. And it reminded me a little bit of Ready Player One in some aspects. I quite enjoyed it. I thought that some of the points that it was making, being now in a pandemic, were a little bit cringy and jarring, but overall I think it was a good story and I enjoyed it. And I read that for my book club, in real life book club. So I will be really looking forward to know what they think about it. Then the next two books I finished. The first one is Are We Home Yet by Katy Massey, and this is in the shortlist of the Jalak Prize. And I'm not sure if this is a memoir or a novel. In the back it says it's a novel, but it's about a girl called Katy Massey. So I don't know. I think it's autofiction maybe. But basically this is about Katy. When she's a girl, she discovers that her mom is basically a prostitute, and what that does to their relationship. And then also as she grows up, she starts seeing her mom and the profession in other eyes, and she realizes that most prostitutes that she met, they are just people that need money and need a job, and it's not that easy to get a job, so they do what they can. And also Katy is the mom is white, but the dad is Jamaican and he's black, so she's mixed race, and she's also a little bit overweight, and she also talks about that aspect of it and the fact that she never quite fitted in places. And she also talks about going back to Jamaica and trying to reconnect to her roots. I have to say that even though all of those themes I really enjoyed, and I think that it was a powerful message that it sent, the structure, it was a little bit weird, like it went back and forth many times, and there were several people that were mentioned in several places, and it was a little bit hard to follow at times, especially at the beginning when you didn't exactly know the structure of the family and you find out later. I don't know if that was like kind of a mystery element or what was supposed to be doing, but I found the structure a little bit weird. But other than that, I quite enjoyed this book. And the other one that I read for the Jalak shortlist is Rainbow Milk by Paul Mendez. And this again has actually similar topics, like the people here are Jehovah's Witnesses, and Jesse, the main protagonist of Rainbow Milk, grew up as a Jehovah's Witness, and he was a gay black man. So when he was a late teenager, he decided to run away from home into London to kind of try to live his true self life, but because of the circumstances, he basically ended up being a prostitute, a male prostitute. So a lot of connections with those two books. Funny. But yeah, so he tried to make a life for himself, and he struggled, and we see his struggles. It is a very poetic book in the way it's written, very slow, very reflective. But again, similarly to the other one, it also has a kind of a weird structure. It goes back and forth into flashbacks that didn't need to be there and just made the structure a little bit confusing for me. And also the way that the story was told, there was like several high points, and then you go low and you think it's gonna finish, and then there's another high point, and it's just it's like several books in one, I felt. But again, the topics it talks about, the ideas that were presented, the way that they were presented, the language that was presented, I felt they were interesting. It was just like there was something that was not quite right with it. So yeah, I liked it, I didn't love it. And then the other last book that I finished last week is Las Bellas Extranjeras by Mricea Cartarescu, which is my Romanian book for the Invisible Cities project for this month. I have started a little bit late with this, and I don't know if I will be able to have a Madagascar book because of libraries and stuff, but hopefully I will. But for now, I have read the Romanian Las Bellas Extranjeras, and this is kind of a autobiographical set of essays slash novellas. I don't know. They talk basically about the author experience being a well-known Romanian author when he was in Romania, but also when he was in Paris, I think, and he was living in France for a while, and just talk about the experience of being an author. And again, I did like this, but I didn't find it particularly touching or anything. I don't tend to connect with stories about writers, and it also had a bit of a misogynistic touch to it that often older white male European writers have. So yeah, I didn't love that, but I'm glad I read it. He is a very well-known author and a very big Romanian author, so I'm glad I read something from him. Apart from that, the only other thing that I have been reading very slowly again is A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I'm making my way through this very slowly. I think I'm about 60-70% into it. I don't know if I will be able to finish it next week, but I'm making progress and I will finish it at some point this month, I think. So yeah, hope fingers crossed that's soon, because I am enjoying some parts of it, but it's just very slow and it's very detailed and it's not very personal. So yeah, I'm a bit in the fence with that one. So yeah, my plans for next week is to finish Upriver and A Promised Land, but I also want to read In Memory of Memory, which is the last book in the shortlist of the International Booker that I'm going to be reading. And also I want to continue with my Invisible Cities books for this month. So that's my main focus next week. I don't think I'm going to be reading nearly as much next week because it's a bit of a busier one. A friend of mine is getting married, and even though it's going to be a super small thing, it's still a thing. So yeah. Let me know if you have read any of these books, if you are reading anything for any project this month. And yeah, let me know your thoughts about any of these books. And if you can again go and support the Palestinians in this very difficult time for them, I will be very thankful. And until next video, bye.